So, welcome to our April training. I'm really excited to have all you guys here today. And Iris, I've been waiting for her to do this for quite a while now. So, I'm
Yes.
pretty excited. Want to remind you guys before we get started, go over and grab your subscription of Breakthrough Author Magazine if you don't have it already, breakthroughauthormagazine.com. And we are in the middle of our AI platform building class right now. And I think, well, Andy's right there, so he can shake his head yes or no. People are getting a ton out of it, especially the one-on-ones where I'm teaching them how to use the different platforms and how to be able to put it all together and do all of this marketing really, really quickly and really, really nicely. And it's funny because one of them, you guys don't know this, but Iris actually used AI, but a year and a half ago, I guess, for a big event, and it wrote some great copy for her. So if you want to sign up for June, it's too
Yeah.
late for this session, but you can grab a spot on the June session. It's www.aiauthoracademy.com. And so if you want to do that, then let me know. Why is this not letting Kisan in? I've hit that several times. There he is. Hey.
Hey.
So today's guest is Iris Goldfeder.
Hi.
And Iris, hold on, got it right here. I knew I printed it. Iris is a longtime entrepreneur with more than 25 years of experience in digital marketing field. Before coming back to focus on gas stove creative full-time, Iris was a co-founder and managing director of Strategy.
Just think of like, think of like strategy, digital strategy, but kind of like anyway.
Okay, and here I thought it was
word.
Italian the way it's spelled, virtual marketing. She also serves as vice president on the board of trust and the board for the Friends of Downtown. And she's also the founder of ICG Development and Consulting, LLC. So I think you guys will be really excited because Iris knows so much about this. And I know a lot of us struggle to get people to our site. And when they do get to our site, is it laid out right? Is it, what does it all look like? So really excited to have you, and take it away.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. That's my wife and I, and if you look behind me, we maybe start.
Hold on, we can't see your slides. There we go.
Okay, there we are. Okay, so that's my wife and I at Disney last year. These are our fur kids, Skylar and Piper, otherwise known as Monster and Demon. I am also a musician, so I sing rock, and that's just a couple of pictures of that. And I also run a not-for-profit in Lafayette called Unmasking Lafayette, where we raise money and awareness for the organizations in town that tackle social issues that people consider taboo. So that was us at last year's event, and this is the executive director of mental health. Wabash Valley, Mental Health America, Wabash Valley, which is her look is perfect. And Lindsay is her partner, and she's the executive director of our local YWCA. So, and then that's my wife, and we were just mugging it up. So, okay, so that's enough about me, but on about what we're going to talk about today. So website optimization and load speed, accessibility, and I'm throwing in SEO, which I guess I thought was a surprise, but Juliet said that I was, so to do that. But so website optimization, you know, the most important thing with your website is that you have it optimized. And optimizing is, yes, it's a result-oriented strategy. You guys can read that enhances your site's performance. But the strategy that you use it's all about keywords. It's all about how do you want people to find you? What do you want to type into Google to help people find you? And that's part of SEO, but that's also part of web optimization, because everything goes hand in hand. Any kind of optimization you do on your website is going to be very helpful for your search rankings. Okay. Okay, so why optimization matters. So you can see the stats for yourself. I'm not going to read it to you. And I think actually this is a little higher now. I want to say that probably if somebody is looking for you and they know who you are, they're going to put your name in. right? So Julia Clark, author of Breakthrough, whatever, then you're going to come up right away. If they put in Breakthrough, you'll probably come up right away because that's been out there a lot. But if you're a new author or even an old author, and I don't mean old, I mean seasoned, maybe, sorry, but an author who's been doing this for a while, this is something that, your book title may or may not come up. It really depends on what you've done, and optimization on your website is really important. Social media, anything that you do. So where does everybody end up when you do an ad or when you talk about your book or whatever? Where are they going to click and end up? Anyone can answer.
Your website. Well, when you
Yeah.
look at, are you talking about on Google or on your site?
No, your website. You're 100% right. If you have a link on LinkedIn, if you have a link on any of the socials that you're using, wherever they click, they're bringing you to your website. So you want to make sure that your website is optimized. And organically. So the difference between organic and just plain search, a plain search is where they're putting the name of your book into Google search bar, or your name in Google search bar. An organic search would be something like, I don't know, books on leadership, in large corporations or something like that. That's where you want to show up if that's what you're doing. And I'm using that as an example. It could be, books on being woo, books on owning a cattle farm. I don't know, just whatever, but that's where you want to make sure that you come up. So those are the keywords that really need to be on your website. And that's all part of optimization. And authority and credibility. So the SEO, which is what we'll talk about later, and content marketing, that becomes really valuable for you and your prospective, customers, or, people who are going to buy your book. Because, so how do I explain this? So Google works on trust. So if you have a domain, so for me, it's Gas Stove Creative, and I've owned Gas Stove Creative for like 10 years. I turned my SEO off for the last 2 years because I had to, because I was under a non-compete. So I didn't want people finding me. Now we're turning it back on. But if you go look at any of my clients, you could do Pest Control, Lafayette, Indiana. Smith has been around for 3-4 years. Google likes when you've had your domain for a while, because that builds authority and credibility in Google's mind. And it helps with the algorithm. So if you're just starting out and new, there's ways to get around that. But you really want to. I know some people that wrote a book and they had a domain for a book, and then they wrote another book and then they had a different domain for that book. But what that does is the original book is going to have the domain authority because it's been out there for a while. Their new book is not, because it's brand new. So what I tell people is use your main domain, whether you want to call it the book or just like a company name, and then put everything in underneath it. So like a media page, or, a book page, or wherever you keep all of your works. That's where you want to have everything go to. Because if you lose that authority with your main domain, it's going to take just as long for the new domain as the old domain. Does that make sense? Am I confusing the hell out of you all? You can respond, because I want to make sure that you're understanding. I want to make sure you're picking up what I'm putting down, because this is really important for what you guys are doing.
No, I think it makes really good sense. I said, because that's what I was thinking as well with my book, because I already had a website up for cooking show. So I'm just going to put everything under the umbrella of the cooking show, and it'll just, everybody can go to that and they can see everything.
Yep, exactly. Anybody else? Okay. Okay. So check your speed. A lot of people have pictures or video on their website, and you should never, ever, 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 ever ever, did I say ever enough? Ever have a video file on your website. It should always link to either YouTube or Vimeo. So if you don't have a YouTube channel or a Vimeo channel, you want to get that, because if you put an actual video on your website, the load speed is going to be stupid ridiculous. And there are these things called spider bots, and they are just what they sound like. They crawl the web, and they look for media, and then they hack the site and they destroy the site. I don't know why people have to use their talent for evil, but they do. And that's a really big deal. So you want to make sure that you link your video from an outside source. And that also helps with, excuse me, backlinks with SEO, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But website speed is the most important thing, because if somebody gets to your site and it takes more than 3 seconds to load, they're gone. And even 3 seconds sometimes, because, you know, society now, most people, I'm not going to say they have ADD, but they just have a really small attention span. And if they get to you and it's taking too long, then they're going to look for something that doesn't take too long. And then you're going to lose out on that. So a couple of tips. The files that you use for your pictures on your site, most times they're JPEGs or PNGs. Those are really big files. So we tell people to use, it's called WebP. So it's WEBP. And that is actually a Google extension. But what it does is so you blow your picture up to whatever godly, you know, number it is, and then you shrink it back down. And then this way, it's a way smaller file, and it doesn't lose the efficacy that, you know, just like dropping something else in would. And load speed, again, is the most important thing. So if they're waiting for your page to load, you know, and that goes for all of the pages on your website. So if your homepage loads quickly, it doesn't mean that your About Us is. It doesn't mean that your media page is going to load quickly. So you want to be really cognizant of the kind of files that you're putting on your site. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Do you all know how to, or do you have somebody who can help you convert those? Okay. Because that's important. You need to have somebody on your team that knows about this stuff and they can help it. And also Google loves WebP because it's a Google thing. So, you know, because it's Google, they're going to be like, oh, you're using our stuff. So you get a little bit of favoritism there.
Iris, can I ask you
Yes.
a quick question on that?
Yeah.
So for you're saying to link videos to like YouTube or Vimeo, right? So like even if it's a short video that like a short advertising video, you can load into YouTube and have it not visible to the public, or should it all be visible to the public? How should that work?
Probably all visible to the public.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you make it non-visible, then it won't show up if they click on it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I have been loading the videos there, thinking it'll be faster, but apparently it's the other way around. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, good. You got something out of this. Yay. Okay. So, and then there we go. It's a crucial aspect of web performance and user experience. And yeah, so we did all that. Okay, so accessibility. Okay, I'm like, this is probably one of the most important things to me, because I'm a huge proponent of, you know, there's DEIAB, right? Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And I cannot believe that disability is not included in that. It just blows my mind. So what is it? It basically refers to including everybody. If somebody is blind and they go to your site, they need to be able to use their tool, because if they're blind, they have some kind of a tool to access the web, right? So this is where the web optimization comes in. You want to make sure that your pictures have what's called alt text. And an example of that is, you know, you have a picture of, and I should have put the example in, but you have a picture of, you know, a guy and his family sitting in a boat on a lake fishing, right? You and I can see that. We'll go to the website and we can see that, no problem. But what about somebody who's blind, who's using a reader? They're not going to know. All it's going to say is picture. So you want to use alt text on the back end of the site. Within there's like a little place that you can go, and you put the alt text in, and you put the alt text in man with his family in a boat on a lake on a sunny day, so that the person can now hear what they can't see. Make sense? You also want to be careful with, my dog agrees with me. You also want to be careful with logos, right? And any of the content on your site. Like I'm probably going to be redoing my logo, which kills me. I'm not going to redo it. I'm just going to like amp the picture, the colors up a little bit, because can you hear her? Is that like, okay,
Skylar,
sorry.
barely.
So what, you need contrast. So if somebody has a visual disability and they come to your site, they're not going to be able to see black on blue. So like black text on blue. And you can be like, who would do that? You would be really surprised. A lot of people do weird stuff like that. So you want to be really aware, like black on white is great. White on black is great. Gray on black, it depends on the gray, maybe not so much. Orange on black, great. Black on orange, great. So you get the idea, right? Any high contrast colors that you can use really help with accessibility. And you also want to make sure that you have the tools to be able to do that. So there's a thing called Accessibility, and there's mixed reviews on that. Should you use it? Shouldn't you use it? I say don't use it anymore, because sometimes it can get in the way of somebody using a tool. It can render their tool useless. So if somebody blind comes onto the site, their tool gets cut off and they, it doesn't work. But I'm doing more research into that, because now they're saying that they're working on those things. But you want to make sure that whoever's building your website builds it with the capability of allowing all of these things to be used. Web forms as well. Oh my God. I went to a website the other day that had a white page with light gray. It was just like, what are you thinking? It had light gray first name, last name, and it wasn't even like hovering over it and then it went darker. It just went dark. And then when you typed in the words, it was light gray. So, and I don't know about you all, but my eyes, I'm, not exactly young. So my eyes, yes.
I was going to say too, a lot of times people come and they want this really pretty site. So, calligraphy or fonts that are really scrolly. How do you feel about those? Because I hear a lot of people complain that they can't read them.
Yeah. It's true. You want to make sure that what you use is like the font I'm using, right? It's called Railway. It's nice, it's full. Anything script, certain scripts mess with people's eyes, calligraphy messes with people's eyes. So I had a client who had a oh, what was his thing? Age of the Storms, I think. Was that it? I don't know. But his whole book cover was calligraphy. And I went, nope. It's like, what are you talking about? I said, we can create a map that has calligraphy in it. That's an image, so that it kind of alludes to what you're talking about, but you don't want that in the title, because unless it's giant, right? If it's like giant, it's different, but you really want to be careful with that. So when you're using fonts, you want to make sure that you use fonts that are well-rounded, that, without your readers, you can look at it and at least get an idea of what it is. And I'm sure Andy does not need readers yet. So, but who else is on here? I'm trying. I can only see like 5 people. So, but yeah, so that makes a big difference. And you want to make sure that when they build the forms, that everything is black and white, or if it's on a black page, and like Smith, one of my clients, his colors are black, white, and red. You can have something in red on white. Red on white is okay, but sometimes that can even mess with people's eyes because it's so bright. So you just want to be really careful about that. Focus and interaction. I think the other thing it's, yes, it's moving on its own. You also want to make sure that you don't use anything that moves. A lot of people are like, ooh, I want my testimonials to scroll on the bottom. Depending on the color background, that can mess somebody up. A friend of mine, Nick Casey, is running Equality Fashion Week in LA that I'm going to cover for my show in May. And they had on the bottom of the site the testimonials, and they were scrolling. And after about 2 minutes, I thought I was going to throw up. And that stuff never bothers me. But I mean, you're laughing, but it gave me a headache. Like for the rest of the night, I was like, I can't even look at your site until tomorrow. So he went in and, or they went in and stopped it, and it was way better. Moving text can really mess people up. Think of somebody who's epileptic who comes to your site, right? You don't want anything flashing. You don't want anything, you can have cool things on there, but they don't need to really move. That's just, my 2 cents on it. And that's the adaptive design. And then focusing on interaction and robustness, you really want the flow of the site you want it to flow really nicely so that it makes sense. I have some people that had like this really like disjointed, this is who we are, this is what we do, about us. And, oh, here's a picture of us skiing last week. Makes no sense, right? So you want to have everything flow really nice. You want your homepage to speak to your target market. That's like number one. You want to be really clear on who your target market is, and you want the language on that site, on that homepage, to speak to your target market. So you want to make sure that that's front and center. Because the other thing too is, that it's called the hero image, which is the first image that they see when they get to your website. Whatever verbiage you have on that, you need to catch their attention within 2 to 3 seconds to even make them want to scroll down. So if they don't know who you are, if they don't know what your book's about, you need, like, whatever it is, if you are writing a some kind of a help book, you want the problem that you solve right there. You want the description of the book, but the piece that's going to compel somebody to go down right there. And you don't want like 3 paragraphs. You literally want like 2 or 3 lines. That's it. Again, it has to do with attention span and all of that stuff. Okay. Come on. Okay. And here we go again with, equal access. A lot of people have come to me and they have me redo their website because it wasn't ADA compliant. And they actually were told by one of their people that it's like, if not everybody can navigate your website, I don't want to use you because you're not all inclusive. It's really important now. I mean, it's a requirement here, right, to be ADA compliant. And I think like in 17 or 18 other countries, it's also becoming a requirement. A lot of countries are now adopting the ADA compliance because they realize that 10 to 20% of the population has some kind of a disability. And if people can't navigate your site comfortably, they're going to go somewhere that they can. And that means that you're going to be losing a lot of that business or a lot of those eyes. And you don't want to lose those eyes. And I guess the other thing is, why wouldn't you want to be inclusive? Why wouldn't you want to include everybody in there? So, go back to your sites. If they're not, if the flow doesn't flow nicely, if, you can't look at something without, like the color scheme is different or whatever, that's what you want to really focus on. And the flow of the site and where it goes. And once you become, compliant, now you're telling everybody that you care about people. And for me, that's the biggest thing, because that's why I do what I do. I care about people. I care about my clients. The reason that my last partnership didn't end was because he was just a straight out capitalist and he just wanted numbers. He didn't care about the people. He didn't care about he just wanted their websites and do their stuff. And it's like, I don't work like that. I can't. So I have like 20 clients that I work with. I may take on 5 more for the year and then that's it, because I want to be able to give that individual attention. So that's just me. So there you go. Any questions on accessibility? We still have more. And then why does it matter? Hang on a second. This whole thing the Zoom thing just moved here. You know, it ensures equal access. It promotes inclusivity. It keeps you legally compliant. One thing that is happening is there are these little bots that are going around that if people aren't ADA compliant, they're getting sued, which is kind of messed up. And it's not everybody, but I believe it's companies that have 5 employees or 5 W-9 contractors or more. Anything under that, you're okay, but you would still want to, do it. So it expands reach. It offers improved user experiences. The number one thing for your website is a good user experience. And it goes back to all of the things that I was talking about. All of those things comprise of a really good user experience that anybody can get on your site and be comfortable and scroll comfortably and get the information that they need, in a quick and focused and smooth manner. I mean, that's what it's really all about. And then customer loyalty. I mean, with you guys, that kind of has something to do with it, but, and it's innovative. Like there are a lot of people out there that aren't. And when they see that you are, it also shows that, you're kind of following the things that, are important. Okay, this is like my favorite thing, SEO. What is it? So for you all, and it's what we were talking about before, right? It's crucial to optimize your website to stand out in search results when potential readers are looking for your books or written works, writing related services you provide, and information on topics that you're well versed in. So again, if you are an author and let's say that you do business coaching, right? You want those keywords on there so that Google can find you. So, let's say you have a book, I don't know, just going to make something up, leadership coaching 101. You want to put leadership coaching in Google and you want to be an option. Right? I always say, if you're not online, you're not an option. That's like my motto. I will live and die by that because it's true. If your competitor is online, if your competitor is doing all the right shit and you're not, they're going to find them. They're not going to find you. Whether you write a book, a movie, I don't care what it is. I think I was searching for something the other day. I was looking at my wife and I went, this is what I'm talking about. I can't remember what it was, but it was the name of a movie and I was off by 1 word. And Google pulled it up. And it was an indie movie, not something that, a lot of people heard of. But because I was close enough, Google pulled it up. So you really want to make sure that your stuff is out there. I don't know if keywords are long tail and short word, and we'll talk about that. That may be there. But as your web pages gain improved visibility, the more people find you, the more people find you, right? The more people, do a search, you come up. That's just going to keep on happening. So Google has an algorithm and you basically have to train the algorithm. And the people train the algorithm. So people that are looking for things, they type something in and they get all of these options and you want to be one of those options. Higher website traffic. At the end of the day, you can have the most beautiful, amazing website in the world, but if nobody can find it, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. So you want to make sure that they can be found. And then, so this is like my favorite part. So long tail keywords. People are like, what the hell is that? Okay. So a long tail keyword would be, short tail for me would be marketing agency, Lafayette, Indiana. That's a short tail keyword. A long tail keyword is all-in-one marketing solutions, marketing agency, Lafayette, Indiana. So there's more detail in the keyword. And that's what you really want to go for. And people are like, well, who the hell is going to type that in? Well, they're not. But the idea is that the more information you put in those keywords, and I think you can go up to 47 characters. I can look into that. But as long as, you can get that information in there when they're looking for you, if they're looking for an all-in-one marketing company, I'm going to come up number one. Make sense? Blink twice if it does. Okay. So, all right. This is thinking, okay. Is that yeah, okay. And then the other thing too here is when it comes with, costs and ongoing maintenance, the more you use the longer keywords, the less work your person has to do on it. So when we build our websites, we build everything with, we build all of our websites with SEO. We build them with the long-term keywords. We make sure, all of the photos have the alt tags on them on the front as well as on the back end. So, whoever you're using, you want to make sure that they're doing all of these things because all of these they're all best practices. And it's really important now for the user experience to be just smooth and uncomplicated because people get on websites and they're usually maybe they're on their lunch hour at work or they're on this thing. So you also want to make sure that it is that the sites are optimized for every single medium that they're on. And it's called responsive design. So you want to make sure that when the website is done, it has responsive design because that helps with SEO, because then if someone's on their phone and they're looking for you, they're going to find you. But you also want to make sure that your site looks good on all platforms. So a large screen, just a laptop, a desktop, iPad, and phone, or Kindle, or, if you're not an Apple person like me. But that's really the most important thing, and user friendly. You just want to make sure that that's the experience that they get. And I think that's pretty much it. So do you all have any questions?
Yes, would you go over the long-tailed keyword again? You said it quickly, it's all in one. So give me another example, please.
Okay, so what do you do?
I'm a spiritual coach, an author, a psychologist.
Okay, so a short tail keyword for you would be spiritual coach, Lafayette, Indiana. A
Okay.
long tail keyword for you would be spiritual coach, psychologist. Let me think here really fast. Spiritual coach, psychologist,
Author?
training. No, because you want to stick with, if we're talking about the spiritual piece.
Mhm.
So spiritual coach, training coach. Yeah, I guess we could probably, author, leadership, or I don't know, we'll just throw mindfulness or whatever in there. You want to throw in what you do,
Mhm.
but you can only do so many. So I think I'll get the character amount. I should have had that before I got on here because it changed. It used to be like 68 and now they changed it. That's the other thing. Google is constantly changing stuff. It's like insane. It's like you get used to one of their algorithms and then we get an email, oh, we're getting ready to change. And sometimes they don't email you. And I'll wake up and one of my clients that were 3 are like at the bottom of the page. And I call my SEO girl up and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell happened? And they're like, no problem. And they get in and they fix it. And because, she's on top of it. I'm not all the time. But yeah, so you want to put the most information in the keyword, and that's a long tail keyword.
And then do I add Brooklyn, New York or New York City?
It depends. Are you just selling in Brooklyn, New York?
No, 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 the world. Yeah, okay.
No. So you don't want to do that. I'm just saying Lafayette, Indiana, because I'm trying to rebuild my like local stuff here because for 2 years I couldn't. So I'm using that as an example. A lot of people, if they have local businesses, they will put their locality at the end of it. For you, you don't have to.
And there's just one other point about that. You mentioned in the graphics, upfront costs and ongoing maintenance are also minimal. What are the costs involved here?
So basically, so for us, to build a site or to optimize a site for SEO, it's $1,500. And then ongoing, and so you have to do it for at least 6 months for it to kick in. And that's whether you do a $1,500 plan, $1,000 plan. $1,000 gives you more massaging than anything else. It'll help, but it doesn't help as quickly as our ongoing 1,500. And the reason why is because then, we go in every single day. We make sure that all of the keywords that you chose are still valid. If they're not, we would, send an email and say, hey, Linda, we need to change this way, or we'll just change it.
Mhm.
Sometimes we don't even say anything because we know what's going to work. So we just go in and change it. But it's really, all about staying on top of everything, knowing when the algorithm changes, and looking at your competitors too. Like I tell everybody, go look at your competitor's site, see what they're doing. See if you hover on their pictures, does the alt tag come up? A lot of people are learning now that they need to do it. A lot aren't. I spoke to somebody last week who I was like, you got to do this. He's a plumber in town and every one of his competitors has it. And he's like, nope. And he's complaining like, why am I not getting more business? Because it's not about loyalty anymore. It's how fast can somebody find you? If the pipe breaks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're not going to be going, oh, I used to use so-and-so. They're like, oh, crap, what was the name of the company? And then they're going to go plumbing, Lafayette, Indiana. And the first person that comes up, they're going to call. Or the second person, right? Or the third person. But if you're not, again, you're not online, you don't fix this stuff, you're not an option. So
Thank you, Iris.
you're welcome. Anybody else?
I was just wondering, like, with your, is that what your company does? Like, it just does, checks out the, all of the websites for people, or do you do web design, or what all is it that you do?
So we do a full digital suite, which is going to be on the website next week. We're working on that now. But we do website development, SEO, social media. We do television commercial production. We do media buying. We do copywriting, although you guys are writers, you wouldn't need that. We do brand design and development, logo design and development. We are literally all-in-one marketing solutions. I built a business because I started working with people and they were like, oh my God, I have to deal with this person for this, and I have to deal with this person for this, and I have to deal with this person for this. Now they don't anymore. Now they just come to me and they can get everything done. I have no employees. I work with all contractors. I told Juliet this story, but I think now, I guess it's 4 years ago, I had a huge project that was due, huge, like just massive. And 2 weeks before it was due, the 2 employees working on it quit because somebody offered them more money. And I literally was like, oh my God. So I wasn't going to call the client to be like, I'm probably going to be 6 months late. So I called all my contractor friends and I was like, they just quit and I got you. And I still work with them today. I've added people to my list, like the videographer. We do online video. You can go to my LinkedIn page and see a whole bunch of video that's done. We have a podcast, I have a TV show now. So there's like a lot of different things. But as far as the marketing, we do it all. We do signage, we do little tchotchkes. This is like my favorite little addictive, stupid thing. It's like a bubble wrap ball. So you just like I'll do it in meetings and people are like, put the thing down because it's very tactile. But we do promotional items. We do it all.
So the promotional items, I just want to tell you guys, if you're doing an event and you're going to put together a swag bag, Iris is where you would go to get those swaggy, is that even a word? Those swag items.
Tchotchkes, yeah, the
You
items.
call them
Yeah.
tchotchkes. But yeah, anything for a swag bag. Do you actually can you print the bags too? I think we talked about that before.
So we can get the printed bags. We don't put them together,
Mhm.
but we can get the items for you and ship everything that you need to you. And then you can hire like a college kid for $10 an hour or whatever, and they could just stuff them. That's what one of my clients here does.
Yeah, so you guys, when we bring on new clients, with which I haven't mailed Dorothy's yet, but we always send out books, one of our books. So that might be something where you want to put a swag bag together or a really nice card. I happen to use Paper Source cards, although our Paper Source just closed down, which I'm really bummed here because now I have to go online. But just putting together
We could
a
do them
little
for you too if you need them.
something like a welcome kit, that would be the place where you would go to order those things. So I used to work for a company like that, oh, God, when I was in college, so ages ago. So like maybe a pen, if you have a journal, you might want a pen with your company name and address on it, or an inspirational message. A bag, if you're going to be at an event and you want a really nice swag bag. How many of you have been to events where they have a bag and you have a lot of different things in it? You'll have a pen, you'll have some materials, probably a lot of you have. Those are the kinds of things that she does. And those can be really cool welcome gifts or, giveaways for events. Obviously, we're not at the celebrity level. You will receive nothing with a Cartier necklace in it, but you can put little things in it that your clients will appreciate.
Yeah. And we also do like banners, trade show tablecloths, and all of it. So
Oh, that's good to know. I think, is Amanda still on here? Amanda was telling me she just did one of those and she paid an arm and a leg for it. So maybe
how much
before
did you pay for it?
I don't know if she's still on, but I
She
was
is.
I was pretty shocked. Amanda, would you mind sharing that? Is that
What I paid for what?
that big banner that you did for
Oh,
your?
it wasn't, no, it was a 5-foot banner. It was only $50.
Oh, I thought somebody told me they spent like.
No, 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 no. The banner frame, when you do those pull-up banners,
Yes.
those frames are incredibly expensive. That's why
Oh.
mine's a tension rod camping stick
It
thing.
depends. We're about like 250 to 300, depending on the height. And that comes with it's like a nice heavy base, because a lot of people have like the cheap bases that you swing the foot out, and if you're lucky, it stays standing. We use a nice heavy flat base, and the quality of the vinyl that we use is, there's different types of vinyl, but the quality that we use is always, good, like nice heavy gauge and really good quality, because you want those to last, because they last about, depending on how often you used it. If you use them 3 times a year, they'll last probably 4 or 5 years. If you use them like, every month, they'll probably last about 2 years. But the cool thing is if you get it, so like I get it from my local guy here, he adds more to the bottom so that we don't have to buy a new base all the time. So they just like cut the vinyl, and then, because all it is a piece. So they print the banner and then giving trade secrets away here. And then they have on the roll that rolls down. Do I have it here? Okay, you don't want to see that side of the office. But there's a roll that rolls down, and that has the leftover. So what they do is normally people will have about like maybe an 8-inch leftover. We do a 16-inch leave over. So our banner is a little bit smaller, but it fits all the information on anyway, so that each year we can cut a piece off. And I think when it gets down to 7 inches or something like that, they're like, okay, it's time, because then they start ripping at the bottom and it's a mess, but they're really good to have. You have like your book on it. They're just really cool. I love them. And my clients love them. And we do like
Do,
props and yeah, all of it.
I was just wondering if you sell that, do that internationally. I'm in Canada.
Yeah. We
Okay.
can do it anywhere.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Any more questions on the?
Yeah. I was gonna say, you definitely want those heavy duty ones, because I know every once in a while I'll go to an event that that Tracy Hazard has a booth at, and I'll help her out. And you've got to carry them on a plane or long distance in a car. So make sure you get a really good sturdy one that's not going to be easily broken.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we go? Okay. Well, Iris, thank you. They already know where to find you if they want to explore. And if you get a chance, send me a catalog if you have a catalog of the swag items, because I can share it with
We
my
don't have a catalog. You would just tell me what you need and then we go from there, because it's like there's 3,000 items that we can get, and yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot.
Very good. All
And
right.
what-
Anybody else
here's-
has?
Yeah, what is your contact information, Iris? The website, et cetera?
The website is Gas Stove Create. It was on the
I took it down because somebody complained that it was in the way of your face.
oh, okay. There's my face. Here, I'll put it in the chat. The website is gasstovecreative.com. Gasstovecreative.com. Is that right? I'm a 2-finger typer. And my email. Usually I give out my assistants, but I'll give you guys this. And then I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah. And she has a really great podcast too. So if you get a chance after you listen to mine, go listen to her.
And Juliet was online, so you could listen to our episode.
I think Iris has been on mine as well. And this will be made into a podcast too. So if you want to share it with your staff or somebody, you can do that later. Any other questions?
Yes, I was just wondering, Iris, do you actually, like, if I have my website and I've set it up, and I'm setting it up with Juliet, so I'm sure that it's going to be okay. But is there any way that you can check other like a website or whatever to see, like, just so to see if it's compliant or those kind of
Yes.
things?
So we run what we'll do is we run an audit.
Okay.
And we'll run the audit, and the audit will show load speed. It'll show if there are any errors on the site. And we can give you the report and you can fix it yourself, or we can fix it for you. But
Okay.
that's so I have a quiz that's coming out next week. I took it off of Magpie, Juliet, because it just didn't do what we needed. But I put it on another thing, and it's called "Is Your Website Tasty Enough?" And then you finish, you fill out all the info, and then once you get it back, we'll send you a site audit within
Okay.
48 hours usually, and it'll say what's going on with your site. Or we could just send you the link for the audit, and or actually you send us your site, and then we run the audit, and then we send you the information back.
Okay. Would we, like, how would we pay for that, or would that be part of if we had hired you to do the whole thing, or how would that work? Like, would that be included with that $1,500 plan, or is there something separate that you could do that?
If
would
you
just
sign on
audit
for
the site?
SEO, I would include it in there. For you
Okay.
guys, so for anybody on this call, if any of you sign up for SEO, we'll include the audit. We'll also include every quarter a health checkup. And usually we charge like $800 for that, but
Mhm.
since you all showed up for this, we won't.
So that means.
And
what
Juliet,
she's
can you
gonna
send
do
me a
is-
list of everybody who showed up with their email,
I was
just so
gonna-
that I know that if somebody contacts me, I was there, and I'll be like, oh yeah, you were, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that means you name drop, guys. Anything else? Okay, just one last reminder about the AI Author Academy. We are having a lot of fun with the people who are in it. They're pretty shocked by what you can do with AI and how much it's going to streamline your work. So check that out.
AI is amazing.
Yeah, the AIAuthorAcademy.com. And we're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of platforms that you probably haven't heard of that can give you all sorts of great AdWords. Gosh, we actually, I'm just going to brag a little bit here. Yesterday, I showed Dorothy how we literally can put a book in and it will create a course for you. It'll outline, then you can ask, what should I do for module 1? What should I do for module 2? So, it can do some really incredible stuff. If you know how to ask it right. You have to ask it correctly though. And by the way, you always say please, because you never know when the AI is going to send a little drone over because you didn't say please.
Right.
All right, you got
It sounds like a grumpy grandparent.
It's like, hey, kid, get off my lawn. You didn't say please. Yeah.
It could be.
Right.
And then you get to scold the parents when they show up. Why aren't you teaching your kids how to say please? So, all right. Thanks, guys. Next month
Okay.
is Jackie Nagel. And Jackie is a really amazing business coach. She's actually my coach this year. And she's going to talk a lot about how you have to change what you're doing. You can't, it's like Einstein, you can't do the same things over and over and expect to get a new result. So she's going to talk a lot about that. And then June is Miss Carrie Cassell. And if you haven't read Carrie's book, The Domino Diet, and it is really a treat. She has a very humorous way of looking at your health as a dietitian. And the book is not only funny, but you're going to learn a lot about how to breathe, how to eat and breathe better, which I think is a pretty new approach out there for the diet. It's not some fad. Breathing happens all the time, so you don't even have to buy anything to make that diet work. All right, you guys, thank you so much for showing up. And
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.